Hi, this is Robert Clinkybeard with the Commercial Landscaper Podcast. We're going to take 20 minutes of your life to deliver some amazing content from accomplished leaders, business owners to provide you some value, to help you scale your business, to become a better leader and push yourself out of your comfort zone. We really hope you enjoy these shows and really encourage you to share, to like, to encourage all of your friends and network to enjoy this podcast and help improve our industry. Thank you very much to our podcast sponsor, Weathermatic. For most landscape companies, irrigation is an untapped gold mine for growth and profit, but labor and process problems stand in the way. So Weathermatic has created a partnership program to package mobile technology and software with proven business solutions to tackle the perennial irrigation challenges and take your operations to a whole new level. I encourage you to reach out to Weathermatic and learn more. Cheers, everyone. Hi, this is Robert Clinkybeard with the Commercial Landscaper Podcast. Really excited today to be joined by two great people, Dan Currin and Matt Lavin. I'm going to get you guys to just talk a little bit about your background. So start off with you, Daniel.
Yeah, thanks for having us, Robert. Daniel Currin, CEO of Greenscape up in Raleigh, North Carolina. We're a 44-year-old family business focused on commercial landscape services.
Cool. Thanks, Dan. Matt?
Yep. I'm Matt Lavin, CEO of BomData and history of software engineering, looking to solve problems in the landscape industry.
Cool. Well, thanks for joining us today, guys. I mean, I joined you guys on a call a couple of weeks ago, and I just thought, well, but you guys are doing some cool stuff. It'd be good to get you on the show just to tell the audience about some of the stuff you guys are working on. So, let's dive into that. Dan, let's start off with you.
Yeah. Our history is goes back to the pandemic, actually. We were all kind of limited in what we could do. Matt and another partner of ours started talking about problems and ways we could solve things with software. And I kind of identified, our biggest cost in this industry is labor. We're constantly trying to figure that out. How do we recruit it, retain it, manage it? And we really kind of zeroed in on around efficiency of labor as kind of being a place we thought software could help. So we kind of started along that, and we're big Aspire users, and so that's where all of our data is collected, and the software we use to run the company. So Matt kind of was able to kind of build off of that and really pull some interesting information out about things we thought we were doing and things that we were actually doing, which were not necessarily the same and not necessarily in our benefit. And so just as we kind of started to explore that, we just kind of really uncovered some interesting things about at least what was going on at Greenscape. And then now we've learned more about what's going on in some other companies as well.
Cool. But why did you zero into labor? I mean, labor's plentiful. It doesn't really cost much. There's never any issues with labor.
Yeah, and it's only 40% of your P&L. Yeah, we just kind of said, like, hey, if we can make an improvement anywhere that would have, positive returns for a landscape contractor, 10% on labor is significant, right? Versus 10% on a minor overhead, GL line doesn't do much. One of the things that we were, trying to get our heads around at Greenscape was, is staffing, right? So staffing is such a big issue, but are we staffing correctly? How efficient is the labor that we have? There's a lot of ways to manage labor other than just like add people to the equation. So we kind of started down this, and we kind of wanted to look at crew performance and just kind of compare crews to each other. And so Matt had a really good idea on this and kind of built some things out. But like, I think one fundamental thing that we've learned, a couple fundamental things we've learned. One, we found out crews are very compliant to what we ask them to do. So if we give them tickets for X number of hours, that's usually their target, and that's usually kind of what they shoot for. So real efficiency is not found in the field by just hoping guys figure it out, but real efficiencies come through scheduling. And that's where we found out we really had some issues. We were not dispatching like good schedules to crews, and then therefore, they were doing what we were asking them to do, but that wasn't always very efficient. And so then therefore it caused the sense of like, oh, we need more people. Oh, it's really hard to find people. Oh, people are very expensive. And so we really were kind of, there's kind of a separation between like our gut and data that Matt helped us like kind of merge together. And now what we see around labor is that we're making, we still have the strong gut. We've been in the industry for a long time. We all know what we're doing, but we have the data. Matt kind of gave us the data that we can see that goes against that. And now we're making better decisions around labor and labor efficiency.
That's awesome.
And Matt, maybe you could talk to kind of where we started with crew rankings and a couple of early learnings. And what's great about Matt is like, he's coming into this with no landscape experience, right? So he's got no bias. He just can like really objectively look at the data, which has caused some arguments between the two of us sometimes. But usually, unfortunately, he's right more than I am because the data doesn't lie.
Cool. Go ahead, Matt. I mean, I'd love to just hear, obviously you've heard some of the challenges that Dan has been facing, and obviously this goes back a long time with many companies. So I'd love to hear your thoughts going into this project.
Yeah, I mean, my thoughts going into the project were I was in the mood to do something new. I knew that Daniel had a problem that we could solve with some statistical tools and some analysis visualizations. And so we got involved with him. And what happened at first was he just let us have access to all the data and said, find something interesting. And then we kind of noodled on that and we kept going. And the things I was pointing out, it was something like, oh, that's interesting, right? And that pattern has continued. So Daniel will say, here's a problem. What does the data say? Can I do a visualization of it? We highlight it. And then usually there's a surprise. I mean, that's one thing that's come out of this, I think is very interesting, is talking with multiple companies. We've done this process over and over again with other companies, and everyone comes in saying, I think I know what the issue is, but let's see. And then when they see that it is every single time, well, that's weird. I mean, just without a doubt, everyone says that. something along the lines of, that's weird. I didn't expect that. So it's been fun. It's been very fun to build tools that highlight those weird moments.
Yeah, I'm sure that makes some interesting conversations. I mean, it's certainly something I've been talking about for a bunch of months now, where we have all this data now available to us through, whether it be Aspire, whether it be through GPS, all this different software which we're now using. But I think very few people are actually trying to, dive into that data and, crunch the numbers, figuring out what the best use of that data. So sounds like this has been a great project.
Yeah, that I think that's in my career over the last 20 years, we've always collected data around, like, obviously for timesheets and payroll and then job costing and things like that, but so much energy and effort spent on the front end putting data in that we haven't had much time on the back end to really analyze and like figure out how to get better off that data. Probably at best, a lot of us go to renew contracts and things like that, and we'll do a deep dive into that, what happened in the last 12 months. And that's great. It's great to also look at your P&L in the past, but like, the work is happening every single day, every single week, and there's opportunities to just make improvements along the way. And, we're, like I said, we're big Aspire users. We like that software. One of the reasons we selected the software was because, not just because it's a good piece of software, but we were looking across the industry. And at the time, big players, Yellowstone, Landcare had decided to implement that software. And so part of my thought was like, oh, let's just get the same software those guys have, and we'll just kind of neutralize that part of competition. And so that's what I thought we were doing. We're paying the same everybody else is paying. We're getting the same software. Boom, there's no differentiation here. We'll find other places to differentiate our business. But what Matt helped me learn was our use of that software, specifically around how that software helps us make money around labor and efficiency. We were not doing that at a very high level. And we've now seen this multiple times over and over again with other companies where we all think we're using that software, but then the data shows that like there's a lot of big room for improvement. And so what Matt put together, the tool helps my folks use Aspire, especially around scheduling, the guys who are ops guys managing crews and things like that. It's helped them better use Aspire, help them make kind of better schedules, more efficient schedules. But so we just thought, we'd always managed our labor efficiency at a very high level, meaning like, okay, this branch is 100%, 102% efficient, things are good, no big deal. But one of the things Matt really did was he uncovered, if we rank crews performance, everyone's not 102%. The branch might be good, you're sitting at 102 and you go, oh, this isn't an issue, let's move on. But when you rank your crew's performance across the board, you get a leaderboard, and some people are doing very well, and some people are in the middle, and some people at the bottom, right? And so we've been able to improve our overall efficiency by then putting our time and energy towards those folks at the bottom, helping them on site to better plan, better schedule, better process the site, and actually raise the efficiency. And this is really kind of cool. I think about Robert, you're an Ironman guy, right? And so I think what makes the Ironman or one a professional or versus amateur in Ironman is you've got a certain distance you're going, right? That's set, everyone's going this distance, and then you've got a time that you're putting against it, right? And those two metrics make that kind of number impressive or not impressive. So, if I saw you and you said, oh, I just did an Ironman, and I was like, oh, that's awesome. Wow, how long did it take? And you're like 3 days, it'd be like, well, what was wrong with you? Versus if you tell me you got it done in 8 hours.
8 hours,
yeah, which is your normal time, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
All of a sudden you're like, whoa, that's impressive, right? And I think in our industry, on the maintenance side specifically, but construction as well, I mean, at the end of the day, we're trying to produce a quality standard, which is specific to your company. I mean, you guys, each company decides that, but like in our company, we shoot kind of for like about a 90% quality standard. But then if you compare that against the efficiency, and you've got somebody producing that 90% at 100, 110% versus you got somebody producing at 80 or 70, it's like, oh, these are different things are going on here. These are our professional crews. These guys know what they're doing. They're worth every penny, going back to the labor thing of cost and everything. And then these guys down here, it's like, hey, we need to help them and improve them, give them more reps, whatever it takes to get them up. Because at the end of the day, we're just trying to produce a quality product for the customer at a efficient to the estimate that we produced. And Matt has really like uncovered that for the first time in my career of just really understanding that. And it's been really kind of cool to see my ops managers and branch managers kind of grasp onto this and understand that. Now, we're not to what our ultimate goal is, but Matt's given us a lot of clarity into that goal and how to improve it. And so it's just each week that team is just whittling away based off of the numbers that BomData, the tool that Matt built, produces. And so it's really, it's kind of eye-opening for us, and it's helping us, on the labor side, it's helping us on the estimating side, it's helping us on the management side, it's helping us use Aspire better. So it's been really positive.
Cool. Now, I'd love to dive into that a little bit more with you, Matt. I mean, obviously, you probably have some challenges. First of all, just trying to make sure you have accurate data going into the system. So I'm assuming that was probably one of your first challenges, but tell me just some of the common themes that you've seen with some of the companies you've been working with.
Yeah, you're right on that. Accurate data is the key to it. If you're going to use your efficiency estimates or your times in rebidding new contracts in that when the year is up, if the data isn't trustworthy, then you're going to be rebidding based on a number that isn't reliable, and that's not very helpful. And so what we've tried to do when working with every company is we look at the data, find what's most causing trouble, and then put it into a tool that's automated so that everyone else gets that same benefit. So the more people we get involved with, the more problems we discover, the more we automate it. And what we're trying to do is really bring to the management team's perspective the problems worth most paying attention to, right? So like Daniel said, you can get a rank of all of your branches or all of your crews in your branches or all of your managers, and you see some people are doing well, maybe you leave them alone this week, and some people are doing less well. And so you put your time into that. But we really rank people on basically 3 categories right now: efficiency, obvious errors that can be detected automatically with scheduling. These are just mistakes, in our opinion. And finally, the use of crew mobile, essentially. How trustworthy are the numbers? So if you have a high error count, which means you're telling crews to do things that are nearly nonsense, or if you're not using crew mobile or tracking your time efficiently, then the efficiency is very skeptical, like unreliable to be counted on. So we really try to get people to focus on reducing errors, improving crew mobile, and then they can focus on efficiency numbers.
Cool, I love that. I love that. How about, I mean, how's, you touched on this, Daniel, where you're starting to produce this data, you're showing that data to your team. I mean, is that met with resistance? Is that met with, skepticism?
It's kind of funny. We some mistakes we made, and Matt developed these other tools to help us kind of identify these mistakes. I think at first we just started with straight efficiency, and we did like crew rankings, and we just made that public in one of our branches. We just said, hey guys, here's how the crews rank top to bottom, and these 10 crews. And of course, what you would think would happen, the guys who were all really good came and asked for a raise, and all the guys who were really bad came and asked for more hours on the job to get it done. And then we were like, whoa, okay, that's not quite the intent we were going for. So we pulled it back, and Matt kind of got into the data and some of the accuracy piece. We really kind of found out, and I would hope we're the only ones, but we were an Aspire user that was not using crew mobile 100%, still doing a lot of manual entry on the back end, which really creates the lack of data integrity Matt was referring to. And then 2, we were just not dispatching good tickets. So sometimes crews, so therefore the efficiency we were looking at with crews wasn't really real. It wasn't, it's 80-20, it was good enough to kind of, if you get an idea, but it wasn't good enough to share. When we came back and with the tools Matt built around actually getting good crew mobile data, hours accuracy done, and then getting better schedules dispatched, now you can look at the efficiency and know that it's real, and you can actually share it, and guys can really see how they're ranking. And so the real kind of impact now, when we brought managers into this, and their feedback was actually really positive. I was kind of like really concerned of like, oh, great, this is just the next shiny object thing Daniel's kind of interested in. Let's just appease him, or like whatever, kind of typical in this role. But a lot of them just wanted the clarity too. They didn't know how they were doing. They didn't know how to improve the situation. These folks on my team have some profit sharing, and the biggest way they can contribute to that is labor efficiency, hitting or beating job hours. And so this really just made it very transparent to them. So they got pretty excited about it. Now it's still, they got a really busy schedule. They got 1,000 things going on. They're in ops, there's fires to fight and all this stuff. It doesn't take away all of that, but it really shows where they need to put their time and energy each week. Because when let's say you got 10 crews, if I spend equal amount of time with all 10 crews, what's the benefit, right? Versus if I really take the bottom 3, which is our target right now, and working with those 3, I can put time and energy on them, make a significant improvement, see those results kind of in the coming weeks. And then I know I'm adding to the P&L.
No, that's cool. I love that. I'm just thinking through how that's going to affect things. But, I suppose I was trying to think, and I'm assuming that the relationship or the approach between Greenscape and BomData has changed over time. Now, to put it in perspective for a new company listening to the show and thinking, well, I'd love to bring on BomData. What type of, we're talking about 2 to 3 months to sort of gather that to then start tweaking things, or what does that look like in terms of timeline to start seeing changes being made?
Yeah, Matt, what do you think?
Yeah, well, we've done this a couple times over the last couple of weeks, and what we've seen is getting BomData hooked up to Aspire at this point takes just a minute, like 1 or 2 email exchanges, Aspire keys configured, and BomData will then pull 2 years worth of data and start analyzing it. Then the system administrator can log into their account and they can view, most commonly, they're going to go straight to where we have this error page, and it shows which branches are making the most unforced errors. And that almost always starts the conversation with, hey, I think BomData is wrong. And I say, okay, yeah, well, let's go in, let's go in, look at the Aspire data and see. And then they're like, oh, that's weird, right? So I would say you're going to get data improvement right away. Now, the real question is, what do you do after you get through those first sets of errors? You clean it up, you fix some glaring mistakes, and then maybe you notice Crew Mobile isn't as good as it could be. You bump up some crew usage. And then I think you're at the point where Daniel is, which is really almost changing your mindset around how to manage labor at maybe a finer grain detail than people have in the past. Seems like the approach to managing labor is one that's not consistent across everyone in the industry. And so then you have to figure out, okay, what's my approach to using BomData to optimize that? I mean, specifically scheduled and estimated hours.
No, cool. Awesome. Thank you, Matt. In terms of what's it seen your difference, Danielle? I mean, have you seen improved profitability yet? Have you seen less reliance on more labor being needed? What do you have enough history there to be able to come up with some real core numbers yet?
Simple things I can point to is, like Matt said, we pull in 2+ years of data with the tool. So we can compare like last year to this year, and we can see places that we put intentional effort where, like, oh, last year we were here and this year we're now going up, we're trending up. And so a lot of that so far has been around our Crew Mobile usage, just getting that 100% back on track. And then our errors accuracy, which is dispatching, correct schedules, efficient schedules to crews versus just good enough schedules. So that's huge on improvement. And then around labor, the biggest thing we've seen is, if you have I seen like a 10-point improvement? No, I haven't seen a 10-point improvement so far. But what I have seen is that if you look at the historical, our labor efficiency would just kind of go up and down, whether it's seasonal or what. It was just kind of interesting. It just kind of would never be level. This year, we're seeing a little bit like we have a little bit more almost control over it, if you will, where we're, crews are much more efficient on a weekly basis. That's starting to be positive on a P&L basis. So at this point, no, we haven't put true effort into like really that last piece what Matt's talking about, dialing in on the schedule, because we needed to get the accuracy and errors correct first. But we are just seeing a much more consistent product, if you will, on the efficiency side. And I think that's beneficial. Being able to control your biggest cost seems like step one.
That's awesome. No, I think because I start thinking about, you could lead into a bunch of other discussions around, if you're finding certain crews are not being as efficient as others, could you do some more targeted training towards those crews to try and improve their efficiencies, or look at their routing, or things like, could we improve upon, job sequencing or punch lists for certain jobs? So there's so many different directions this could go, but just having that data allows you to have those conversations rather than just a blanket discussion.
Yeah. Well, and one tool that we've been really utilizing a lot is around Gantt charts and job mapping, which is meant to improve efficiency and produce the quality of work in that time. But I think there's some things like in the industry when it comes around labor efficiency, you can't go from step 1 or 2 to like step 5 just like immediately. And job mapping stuff is not a step 1 or 2. It's it's upper on the list. And so we now are using BomData to help us with that, because we just are able to look at either crews or the jobs specifically that really like, man, we got to improve this. And so we take that tool and we apply it there first, versus when we were applying it in the past with just gut, oh, we should job map this job. It's like we were making really good money on that job. Those guys had it figured out well enough. That wasn't a P&L issue, if you will. It was kind of a good thing to do. But if you really rank that stuff, you realize it's like, yeah, do this first, this later, kind of, if you will, because we all have finite time resources. And so you just can't treat everything equally. And Matt just kind of unlocking this leaderboard concept has just helped us put that time to where it should have the biggest, impact.
Cool. Thank you, Dan. So Matt, what does it look like? What does the future look like for you for BomData?
Version 1 has been just get the data out in front of people, show them it in terms of visualizations that they can understand in a new way. Like, we're just using Aspire data and we're showing it to you in a way that highlights to you maybe where you should pay attention to, interesting insights that you might not have seen. And where I'd like to go with it, and we're starting to work on it now, is to then go one step further, which is don't force them to look at the visualizations and to figure out what they mean, but to just go ahead and tell you, look, you're a branch manager. Here's the 3 crews you should pay attention to. Here's the 4 types of errors that you guys are making most often. And just really, that should change on a weekly basis, assuming that they're making improvements. And so I'd like to just have the tool tell you, look, if it was me, this is where I would make my investment. And there's a lot of math that could power some of these decisions. And so it's not a gut check. It's just, this is the right move for you. If you could make an improvement here, here's where you need to make it. And yeah, like Daniel said, maybe ignore some of the crews at the top, but you shouldn't have to look at a picture and every single company refigure out where to spend their time.
Right. Yeah, makes sense. If any companies are interested in chatting more, just finding out ways in which they can improve their performance, what's the best way for them to get in touch?
They could go to BomData.io. That's BOMDATA.io. And they can sign up there. And also you can find us on LinkedIn if you want.
Cool. Okay. Thank you, Matt. Matt, Dan, any final parting words from you?
Yeah, probably the biggest one is just thanks, Matt. Appreciate all the hard work and effort that has right now heavily benefited Greenscape. My hope is that it benefits others in the future as much.
It's been a blast learning about a new industry. It's a lot of fun problems to solve.
Guys, thank you for your time today. Really appreciate you sharing the project that you're working on. Good luck with that, and maybe we'll bring you back on in another few months and just get an update from you. So thank you again, and have a great week, everyone.
Thanks,
Robert. Good luck on your next hour, man.
Okay, thank you. 8 hours. 8 hours. Hopefully that was pure dead brilliant for you today, and you got some great takeaways for your business, your leadership, or even in your personal life. This is Robert Clinkenbeard. I'd love to get you, your friends, your colleagues to join us on a future journey. So please subscribe through various podcast channels. Visit the commerciallandscaper.com or even wilson360.com that you could check out different content, some other coaching, some different courses you can go on. So you can check out there. And then again, a big thank you for Weathermatic. Weathermatic can help you with your irrigation solutions and really take your business, especially in the water management side, to another level. So check out weathermatic.com, and we hope you have a pure, dead, brilliant day. Cheers, everyone.